You're scrolling through your phone, maybe playing a mobile game right now. You accept friend requests from strangers. You join voice chats with people you've never met. You assume they're just like you, looking for a win, some fun, maybe a new squad to run with. Ingrid Oliveira Bueno da Silva made that same assumption. The 19-year-old Brazilian gamer had no idea that accepting one friend request would cost her everything. She didn't know that behind the username and the voice in her headset was someone who'd already decided she wouldn't leave his house alive. This is the story of how a rivalry in Call of Duty Mobile became one of the most disturbing murders in gaming history. The player behind the screen, Guilherme Alves Costa, was only 18, but he'd already built a reputation in the competitive Call of Duty Mobile community. Under the username Flash Asmodeus, he was known, not famous, but known. He had a team, he had followers, he had that thing every young gamer chases, recognition. But recognition wasn't enough. In the hyper-competitive world of mobile esports, Guilherme saw rivals everywhere, and one of those rivals was Ingrid. She was just 19, skilled enough to draw his attention, skilled enough to threaten whatever fragile ego he'd constructed around his gaming identity. Most rivalries in gaming stay exactly where they belong, in the game. Trash talk and chat, heated matches, maybe a blocked account if things get toxic. But Guilherme's mind had crossed a line that most people never even approach. He'd stopped seeing Ingrid as a person on the other end of a screen. She'd become something else to him, an obstacle, a problem, a target. And he'd decided to solve that problem in the most horrifying way possible. The invitation. Here's where it gets chilling. Guilherme didn't snap in a moment of rage during a match. This wasn't some impulsive act of anger after losing a ranked game. This was planned, calculated. He reached out to Ingrid through Call of Duty Mobile, the very platform where they'd competed against each other. He was friendly, convincing. He suggested they meet up, maybe to talk strategy, maybe to settle their differences, maybe just to connect as fellow gamers. Ingrid said yes. Think about that for a second. She trusted the gaming community enough to meet someone face to face. She probably told herself it would be fine, that gamers look out for each other, that this was just another player like her. She had no reason to believe she was walking into a trap. But that's exactly what it was. When Ingrid arrived at Guilherme's home, she walked into his bedroom, a space that probably looked like 1,000 other gaming setups. RGB lights, maybe, posters on the walls, a phone or tablet ready for the next match. The kind of room where you'd expect to spend hours grinding for ranks and talking trash with your team. Instead, it became the last room she'd ever see. Guilherme attacked her with a knife. The details are brutal, and out of respect for Ingrid and her family, they don't need to be spelled out here. What matters is this: she fought, she tried to survive, and Guilherme took that chance away from her. 18 years old, and he'd already decided that his wounded pride was worth more than another person's life. What came next will make your stomach turn. After killing Ingrid, Guilherme did something that reveals just how disconnected from reality or how desperate for attention he'd become. He filmed her body. He took out his phone, the same device he'd used to play games and message his team, and he recorded footage of what he'd done. Then he sent it to his teammates. Imagine being on the other end of that message. You're expecting gameplay clips, maybe some banter about the next tournament. Instead, you're staring at evidence of a murder. You're realizing that someone you've been playing games with, someone you've laughed with in voice chat, is capable of this. His team did what any rational person would do. They contacted the authorities immediately. And Guilherme? He surrendered. He didn't run. He didn't try to cover it up beyond that initial, grotesque attempt to share his crime like it was content to be consumed. He just turned himself in. The trial and the excuses. When the case went to court in 2024, Guilherme's defense tried to paint a picture of mental illness. They claimed he suffered from a delusional disorder, that he wasn't in control of his actions, that something in his mind had broken in a way that made him not fully responsible. The court wasn't buying it. Yes, mental health is real. Yes, disorders can impair judgment. But planning to lure someone to your home, carrying out a murder, and then filming it to send to others, that's not the behavior of someone lost in delusion. That's the behavior of someone who knew exactly what they were doing and wanted to make sure others knew it too. The judge agreed. Guilherme Alves Costa was convicted of aggravated murder and sentenced to 14 years in prison. What this means for all of us. 14 years. 14 years. Ingrid doesn't get 14 years. She doesn't get one more year. She doesn't get to level up, to compete in another tournament, to grow up and discover who she might have become. Her family doesn't get to see her graduate, start a career, fall in love, live a life. All because an 18-year-old boy decided that losing in a game or feeling threatened by her skill was worth killing over. This case should terrify every parent who's ever heard their kids say, "I'm just playing with some people online." It should make every gamer think twice about who they're trusting on the other end of that headset. And it should remind all of us that the screen doesn't make us safe. The distance doesn't make us strangers. The game doesn't make it less real. Ingrid was real. Her talent was real. Her trust was real. And so was the danger. So the next time you're in a lobby, in a chat, in a game with strangers, ask yourself, do you really know who you're playing with?